Title belts to Hall of Fame. Doug and Tommy carved the name. Fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight retold. Tales of glory, laughter, cry. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring or on the air, legends living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans wanting more. Podcast kings ruling the waves. Memphis Wrestling raising the stage.
Hey everybody, welcome back once again to Dangerous Conversations with Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich. Guys, we are up to episode number 36, and it's another AD&T Ask Doug and Tommy. So the listeners have sent us in a bunch of great questions, and we're going to get ready to answer them. But first, how are you guys doing this week?
Man, I'm doing great, Gene, and it's been pretty down. Been a little rough as far as weather goes around me this week, but I hear it's been good down there at the beach, right, Tommy?
Oh, it's been beautiful. We've been down to the beach a little bit, laid out in the pool here yesterday. But it was bad, it was bad here for a few days, but it's back to the good, Of course, this past week was biker week too, man. So it was a lot going on in Myrtle Beach this week.
Hey, Tommy, what was that, the Harley Davidson you had that at your house in Georgia when I'd always come to your house in Georgia? What was that Harley Davidson that you had?
It was
you
a
remember?
56 Fat Boy.
That's a cool bike.
No idea there was a motorcycle named after me.
Now, if I had it, it'd be a Fat Boy on a Fat Boy. I got skinny back here.
So before we get going on that note, let's talk a little bit about what you guys got coming up before we get to answering some questions here. Tommy, I know coming up June the 6th and 7th, you're going to be up in Illinois. You're going to be in St. Louis. Man, you're always burning up them roads.
Try to stay busy, but going to be in St. Louis for Herb Simmons. He got a big show there, going to do a TV taping, so looking forward to that. And then we're going to be in Illinois. I think I'm in a street fight there. So a lot of things are going on, man.
Yeah.
You mad at somebody up there in Illinois?
Yeah, matter of fact.
Hey, go up there and settle some business up there, it looks like.
Shoot, I guess.
Well, of course, we've talked about it here, but we're going to continue to talk about it. Very excited about the upcoming shows. June the 12th, Mayfield, Kentucky, Mayfield Mayhem for Pro Wrestling Entertainment. You guys, along with the King, Jerry Lawler, is going to be a big event coming up there in Mayfield.
Oh, yeah, it sure is. And like I said, the Pro Wrestling Entertainment, their shows are so family-friendly, and, I mean, it's just great guys on it and everything, and I can't wait. It's always super cool to go hang out with those guys, and they're real respectful and a great promoter and everything. Like I said, I think Tommy always has a blast when he goes also.
As a matter of fact, I talked to Jason today. Bobo, as you call him.
There you go.
I talked to him today about coming in a day early, so I go visit my mom and everything. So, I talked to him, got that straight, and so all that's good. He was doing good. He's always very respectful and help you out any way he can. And, I appreciate him having us on the card. Mayfield, Kentucky, Mayfield Mayhem. I mean, it's going to be a big night in Mayfield, Kentucky. I guarantee you that.
It's going to be a big night. Tommy don't tell you this, Gene, but he always takes Tommy out on his houseboat and stuff and everything. I had never been on his houseboat, but
I told him he didn't know who I was today on the phone. I guess he thought he had call block on me, but he didn't. Anyway, he said, I could tell he was feeling me out to see who it was. So I put a disguise on my voice. Believe that if you can. But anyway, I had him going for a minute. I said, you don't even remember me, do you? I said, and I knew it was a houseboat, but I said, I've been on your sailboat before. He said, no, he said, I don't even have a sailboat. I said, what about a houseboat? He said, who is this? Then all of a sudden he realized who it was.
Shoot. You tell him this is the new king of Kentucky, Tommy Rich.
Oh, Joe.
Lawler might be the king of Memphis, but I think Tommy's the king of Kentucky now, Doug. He's running things up there.
I think so. He's got it going on. He's got about 3 different companies, and he's got 3 different territories going in different parts of the world right now.
That's right. Hey, and let's not forget the big event coming up the 13th and 14th, Metropolis, Illinois, the big Superman Festival coming up. We've talked about that here as well, but man, that's going to be a huge event. I know you guys are really excited about that as well.
Oh yeah, I've never been there before. I mean, I think I've been to Metropolis, but never been to Metropolis during the Superman Festival or anything. And I'm really looking forward to that. And like I said, I think Tommy said on here before that he really likes all the different gimmick type things and the comic stuff and everything. And I like all the, sometimes, Gene, it's just fun watching. I don't want to say just watching people, but fun watching other people that likes different things and everything. But I mean, I guess, once you've been watched so much like Tommy and myself and a lot of different ones, it's kind of cool for us to get to watch other things that we like also. Right, Tommy?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's all, man. I mean, and we keep dwelling on it because it's been a minute though. But like I said, we went to Jerry's house and he had every Marvel character you could think of. I mean, and a lot of it was statues. It wasn't just pictures. I mean, he had a Batmobile. But I always enjoy. I've been to 2 or 3 different ones, and they're always fun. And just to watch the people that dress up in their favorite Marvel outfit too. I mean, it's pretty cool. And they got so many now. I mean, there's so many new ones too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about going. I might bring some kryptonite with me. You never know if I'm gonna run across Superman or not. But I'll have something for him if I do.
Hey, the Memphis Mafia is not above pulling out some kryptonite on Superman. So folks better watch out when you guys get there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So 3 big nights for the Memphis Mafia traveling across Kentucky and Illinois. So make sure you guys come out and see Doug and Tommy and enjoy the event. So right now, guys, we've been hit with I put out a call for, hey, send us your questions, and the listeners have delivered. So let's get to some of those right now, if you guys don't mind. We're going to go right now to a question from listener David Herzog, who asks, What have been the worst injuries you've suffered over your careers, and how long were you out of action for those injuries?
Tommy, you want to start that?
Mine would probably have to have been a broken heart.
You've been out for a long time with that.
Yeah.
Who broke your heart, Tommy?
Still not quite all over that after 50 years, man. Yeah. Well, them little Memphis Bells, broke my heart. Yeah. When I first started wrestling. Now, about the worst thing that had happened to me is I wrestled Bob Backlund. We was in Augusta, Georgia one night. And it's the first time I ever wrestled Bob Backlund, and I had a lot of respect for him. And anyway, we was wrestling a match, and I jumped up, and the ring bopped up, and it hyperextended my leg. And luckily, it's back when you remember Dr. Andrews, Dougie?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's when they first started doing the arthroscopic surgery, and Dr. Andrews, he worked at the Columbus Hospital down there for orthopedic sports stars and stuff. So anyway, I was one of the first, instead of having to just let my knee heal and wonder about it or get it open, they did the orthoscope to it, cleaned it out, and I went about my business. So I was off, but I was off for about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Gene, I would say I've had, let's see, I mean, I've had both my collarbones broke, but that wouldn't have been it because I didn't miss any work. But I had both hands broke, but I wrestled the next day with that too. I guess my shoulder, I broke, when I broke one of my collarbones, I dislocated my left shoulder, and that's always for years still. I mean, you still, once you dislocate something, break something at the same time, it just like, it was an awful pain. And what happened was, the simplest thing that you should do as far as is slam somebody.
Yeah.
The guy freaking took his arm off, and when he went to slam me, he just dropped me straight. I went like a dive straight down to the mat, and I hit my neck and collarbone right here and straight down on my shoulder, and dislocated this shoulder and broke this collarbone. And I was out for, I don't know, like Tommy said, I don't think maybe 2 weeks or something. I come back and kind of took it easy, but I mean, then, like I said, you wasn't under contracts and stuff. If you want to get paid, you had to work. And
that's what I was big to say. Yeah, we didn't get paid for time off.
Right. So I've come back and worked, but I was going to say I've had, both my knees I've had a little work on, but I mean, that was quick. It wasn't nothing bad like what Tommy was talking about. He had to get done, but just, I mean, been banged around and bruised up. But you know what, Gene, I can fortunately say that all the stuff that's happened to myself and I think happened to Tommy, I think we're both very fortunate that there's been no, I mean, like you saw Tommy pop my back and my neck the other night. I mean, that's just a normal thing. I don't know if it's a normal thing for most people, but for myself and Tommy, it's a normal, I mean, for your back to kind of, to get up every once in a while. And which my thing, I'm sure not griping about it, because anything we've done, I'll say this, and like I've said it before, I mean, we've done, and Tommy will say this, that we've done it to ourselves. I mean, some people might have helped a little bit every once in a while, do stuff to us, but I mean, we was pretty much in control of most of the stuff that was done to us. And it's just over the years, there's different things and on my body, but it's like, I'll tell y'all, and I mean, I tell my doctor, and Tommy laughs at me because I talk to my doctor just like I talk to you and Tommy. I mean, you can ask Tommy, I took him with me to my doctor and tell my doctor exactly, ask Tommy, I'll just say whatever's on my mind to my doctor and tell him I know my body and I know what my body needs as far as to feel good and everything. And but I mean, I told Tommy one time, he told me, he said, I don't see if you want anything, you can tell your doctor. And I said, well, I think that got to do with being honest with the doctor. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do.
Yeah. But yeah, I would consider you guys very fortunate because
I'll try to be honest with him. He just looks at me and shakes his head.
He's like, can't you lie to me, Tommy? Don't tell me that.
Yeah. Hey, but there's some goofballs that have hurt us, but like Dougie said, most of it that we've done, I mean, we've agreed to. You get a goofball every now and then, but like Dougie was talking about earlier, we got paid for working every night. So and most of the time you'd be working against the same guy. So you try to take care of each other and not. I mean, and stuff does happen, and plus a lot of it. I mean, Dougie's been wrestling for probably 5 more years than I have. So,
yeah, probably 10.
But
I started when I was 1.
I think over the time, just the wear and tear on your body too, though. And we've been doing it for a minute, and I've been doing it for a longer minute. And but it's just I would have done nothing else. I mean,
And too, Gene, one thing that people don't realize, like I said, Tommy went to Japan with me quite a few times, and like in Japan, when we would get like our backs and different stuff would get out, the office would get. I'd like to say it was like chiropractors, but they would call them doctors to come in and like work on us different parts of our body. Like you saw Tommy pop my neck and my back, but they'd get real like doctors to come in and do stuff to us and do different treatments and stuff. And that's what people don't really realize a lot. But a lot of times the doctor, the different doctors they would get, they'd come in and they'd start rubbing like my lower back, and they would, every doctor in Japan would ask me, say, accident? And I said, well, just wrestling. They said, no, a car accident or some other accident. And because just our backs are so out of line and everything. But I mean, that's just stuff that, like I said, I think, I know I'm real fortunate. I think Tommy is too, for all the stuff that we've been through, and probably the bumps, actually bad bumps. I'd like to say we never took any bad bumps because we knew what we was doing, but everybody takes a bad bump every once in a while, and it takes a toll on you. But like I said, thank goodness, I think my age, I'm not a youngster anymore, but I think me and Tom are doing very well for all we've been through.
No question about that at all. So, a good friend of the show, Tyler Wadley, asks, has either of you ever worked with Ahmed Johnson?
I can honestly say I haven't.
I don't think I have either.
I know he came through Memphis in like 96 briefly, and I know he wrestled like Lawler and Jeff Jarrett and everything. Well, he wasn't around very long.
No, I think he just come in. I think WWF sent him in, didn't it?
Yeah.
Did Lawler get him to come through?
Yeah, he come in and won the unified title for like just a few weeks, and then he was back out. So you guys were like in tag team feuds at the time. So didn't figure you guys crossed paths with him. But then again, Tyler's been wanting to know that for a little while. And his follow-up question to that, he says, do either of you still watch wrestling currently, as in like the new stuff?
I flip through and I'll watch it for a few minutes, but I don't watch a lot of it, to be honest, no.
I watch some different things. A lot of people send me different AEW and what is it? Is it New Japan that's with them now? They send me a lot of matches with the New Japan, different people that show up there, and it seems like more show up all the time and everything. But I'll watch some of that, and I still, I'm in contact with some of the AEW people, and I'll watch. I get a lot of clips of the WWE stuff, and I like to just see if there's. Now I don't sit down and watch no whole shows, but if somebody tells me about something or sends me something about somebody, I'll take a look at it and tell you if I like it or don't like it. And I mean, the whole deal is, we all like different things. So, just because if I don't like something, don't mean everybody else don't like it. But there's a lot of people watching both shows, I think, right now. So, there's got to be some entertainment on there that different people like, I would say. And two, I want to go ahead and, while we're talking about different companies and stuff, WWE, I want to go ahead and wish my buddy Road Dogg a happy birthday. I think his birthday was yesterday, I think, and everything. I hope he's doing well and everything. And I haven't talked to him in a week or two, but I wanted to tell him happy birthday and hope him and his family are doing well.
Absolutely. Happy birthday to the Road Dogg. What a great guy. And he's does good work up there for the WWE and produces and writes and does a little bit of everything. So,
damn, he does good work. But I'd seen a picture of him the other day, and shit, me and him are the same age. He looked about 25 years older than me. What the hell is that? Well, I don't know. I guess I should.
Can you imagine that stress factory of having to have those shows out every week and then all the rewrites? And I'm sure that's aged him 20 years working up there. Honestly.
Somebody will tell him that, and he'll text me and say, you look 80, so.
Y'all start an internet feud over.
Yeah, there you go. No, bless his heart. I love Brian. He's always been really good to me and everything. His whole family, like I said, his brother Brad really taught me a lot when I started. And I know Tommy thanks the world of his family. Tommy was with his dad, Bob, a lot, and I love Bob also. And they're just a great family.
The first time I met the Armstrongs, Bob come in here to do a little booking. The Fullers had come in. I met Bob and Gail and all the boys. They were living out at going toward Memphis, out at Vale Road. They lived off Vale Road. And Rip Smith, I think, or Irving Smith. Anyway, he was a young guy that they brought in from Florida. Me and I lived in the condo. We played tennis. Oh, yeah, I had a lot of fun with the Armstrongs. And,
you ain't talking about it. Hey, Tommy, you ain't talking about over there by the Chick-fil-A place, are you?
I think they were called Iroquois Apartments.
That ain't over there by that hotel I lived at. That ain't that spot you showed me where you.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking of the Armstrongs, if people want to have some fun, I remember in college, I grew up watching the Armstrongs as baby faces in Continental. And when they came, like when Bob was in USWA as the heel Smoky Mountain commissioner in 96 alongside Brian, that was some really, really fun stuff. I know you worked with them some, Doug and Brian. And seeing Bob as a heel was it was something else, but he was damn good at it. So,
Bob was good at anything. I mean, Bob was talented and smart. A lot of people don't know how smart Bob was as far as booking and everything. Bob was really smart one time.
Yeah, he was real smart. Well, he booked. I mean, he was with the Fullers and he booked. And he was good business. I mean, everybody loved what he did. I mean, especially in Georgia. I mean, just the promos he cut. I can hear him doing them. I can't remember what they were, but he always had a rhyme or something that he did, and it got over. Of course, he was born and raised there in Marietta, Georgia, anyway. So he was a hometown boy. I mean, I remember one night, funniest thing. You remember Hee Haw?
Yeah.
Joe Hee Haw?
Yeah.
Anyway, he loved Junior Samples. He loved Junior Samples. Well, we wrestled in Cummings, Georgia one night. And Bob, he was fired up all day at TV that morning. We had to go do it. We did Atlanta TV, and that's when he found out Junior Samples was coming. And then we went and did a live TV in Columbus and had to come back to Cummings, Georgia. Shit, that Bob, he was running late. Everybody was done in the dressing room. And I'll never forget that Bob's face. He come in, Junior Samples was there, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Samples, how you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. And that dang Junior Samples cut his eyes up at Bob. He said, "Bully Bob," he said, "you ain't no spring chicken no more, are you?" Oh, that broken Bob's heart.
oh no.
Yeah.
Hey, Gene, you said you've got a lot of questions for us, right?
Yes.
Well, I've got a question for Tommy.
All right, let's hear it.
Tommy, do you know a lot of different wrestlers and different gimmick names, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What about this name? Have you ever heard, and do you know who this would be? Who would be the Hate Machine?
The
Oh
who?
God.
The Hate Machine.
The Hate Machine.
Have you ever heard of that gimmick name before?
That one.
Well, I've got a match here on my phone that's got the
God.
Hate Machine in it.
Oh my God.
And now the Hate Machine is on this show with us.
He,
It wasn't you, wasn't it?
no, it ain't me.
It wasn't me. I was Rick Jones or somebody. Wasn't it?
Yeah, that was WCW superstar Rick Jones.
Rick Jones. The Hate Machine's up there in the other corner, up beside of me. Now you're gonna have to. What we're gonna have to do, me and you're gonna have to watch this match
And critique.
and critique it and tell the Hate Machine up here how it was. We liable to give him 5 stars or 4 stars or 4 arrows or.
No stars. Stick to podcasting. Oh Lord. Yeah, I shared that. That came up and I shared it and I thought I probably shouldn't have done that.
I think I done got Tommy in a trance, or either he's locked up on this one.
I don't know what's happening. I thought he froze up there for a minute. I think he's pondering. He's like, oh my gosh, that'll be something to make fun of him about.
I don't know the Hate Machine.
Yeah.
I guess I get to meet him.
Well, you spent a week with him in Philadelphia at one point, apparently. And anyway, Bill Heaton asks, this is a fun question. Bill Heaton asks, was there any serious thought given to having Tommy join the fabulous Freebirds when he teamed with Michael Hayes some in the early 80s?
No, there wasn't no thought given to that. I just was filling in, all it was. I wasn't really teamed up with Michael Hayes.
He'd probably killed Michael Hayes if that would have stayed around much longer.
Yeah, that would have been, I don't know, that'd been fun. Michael Hayes, Buddy Roberts, Terry Gordy, and Tommy Rich. That'd been a foursome, like the original, like the Four Horsemen
Shit.
before the Four
Hey,
Horsemen.
they'd wind up not making it somewhere.
Run around with them three in the damn. I've seen him doing some strange things on the side of the road.
I'm sure you got some stories we can't tell on this podcast. We'll have to put that
trying
over
to
on.
catch one another to pee on their leg and stuff. Yeah, they tried to do that. Yeah, one time they tried to get me. I said, "Nah, we don't play like that." Yeah, I couldn't have been a Freebird because I couldn't do that crazy stuff they did. No.
Yeah, I've heard some of those stories, and I would like to think you wouldn't be down for all that, Tommy. Let's just.
Well, shoot, I was with them the night in Biloxi, and we got to the hotel, and Buddy jumped up on the bed and just pulled his thing out, started peeing all over the bed, and I mean, he was standing on it, just peeing all over it, and Buddy and Terry both was looking at him, kind of with their head turned sideways, and he looked at him. He said, "I guess I won't have to sleep on the effing floor tonight." Well, and when we got back from the bar to the hotel, and we rode from the bar back to the hotel, in them three and me in the back of a pickup truck, just somebody that we met at the bar. When we got there, he turned them covers down in that bed and jumped right in it. He done peed all freaking over, jumped right in it.
Tommy, is that what you would have done if we hadn't got that second bed in Philly?
Yeah, probably so. No, you would have to worry about that because I don't want to lay in my own either. Yeah. I would have just had to flip a coin or something.
But like Tommy said, they was something.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
They was good. They were good together because they all liked what they liked and they draw good money together. But
Yeah.
I'm better off from looking afar from working against them. Yeah, no, I would never want to be no Freebird.
But now I love Big Terry and I love Buddy, and I'm leaving one out.
I was say, you got hung up there, Doug. Did you
I
freeze
couldn't
up?
say that I love the other one, but I did get tickled the other day. Somebody told me, he said, "You know what they said Michael Hayes was?" And I said, "Well, I've heard him called a lot of different things." And they said he's like the modern day Pat Patterson. I said, "He's the what?" And they said he was like the modern day Pat Patterson. I popped. I said, "Well, I've heard him called from A to Z, from the worst shit that you could think to I mean, and a lot of people like him or maybe love him or whatever, but I mean, they probably wasn't around him very much."
Well, apparently his tastes have changed over the years if he's the modern day Pat Patterson. But anyway.
Well, that's just, it just kind of shocked me when somebody threw that out there the other day. I thought that was funny.
Well, like I said, that's definitely a new moniker for him that I haven't heard. So Chuck the Truck sends in, what are your favorite non-wrestling related TV shows to watch currently and of all time? That's a fun question.
Tommy has hooked me up with so many different things, but you're gonna laugh. You know what I'm watching right now? I mean, is a series that I'm watching, which Tommy will tell me what's hot on Netflix, and he's always ahead of me on all the stuff, and I watch a lot of his stuff. But as far as like in the movies the other night I went and seen was really cool is The Accountant 2, which I know, Gene, you've seen The Accountant 1, right? The Accountant 2 was really cool. Ben Affleck. But now as far as series, I'm watching, y'all both fixing to laugh right now. Remember in the 80s, Tommy, when Dynasty was on?
Yeah.
80s. Now there's one, and it was probably put out, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, but another Dynasty. It's called Dynasty also. And it is really cool, but I'm watching that, and it's a cool show. And I was trying to think, Tommy, what was it with the last 2 or 3 that you told me? The one where the people was in hell, I think they was in Kentucky or whatever, right? What was that one called, Tommy? Where they laundered the money and all that. The Ozark.
That's an older one. But that Landman, that's real good. That Landman with Billy Bob Thornton, that's real
Yes.
good. And Mobland. Mobland, it's got what's the guy that played James Bond? What's his name? Anyway, it's got Tom Hardy in it. It's real good. It comes on Paramount.
Now, and you know what else I think is going to be really good, which is not a series or anything, but I love, and me and Tommy would go, and me and Eddie would go like every Wednesday to movies. I love movies. I mean, I love, Tommy tells me the series and I love them also, but I love to go to a theater and kick back, and just, to me, that's kind of just a relaxed time and not thinking about nothing or having to listen to anybody on the phone or anything and everything. But there's a movie coming out this Friday, and it's called The Last Rodeo. Have either one of y'all seen the previews yet?
Uh-oh.
No.
I forget the guy's name. He was in The Walking Tall with The Rock. He was the bad guy, the white-headed guy. Y'all, and I mean, I don't know why. I just remember.
I can picture him, but I can't think of his name.
But anyway, he's like he was like a rodeo star, and like won a ton of money and everything. But then he got hurt some way, and like he wasn't ever going to ride again. And then like one of his kids, his daughter or son or something, gets hurt, and then there's a $1 million rodeo ride deal, and he gets back in that. But I mean, it looks like it's going to be a heck of a movie. And I'll probably try to go this weekend before I leave to go to Alaska and see it and everything. But like I said, Tommy smarts me up. For anybody listening, Tommy smarts me up to all the good series, and then I watch them and everything. Like I said, back, I guess it's been 3 or 4 years ago, that Ozarks deal. But after that, I started asking him because Melissa really liked it and everything. And
that new movie come out with Jason Stratton. What's his name? A Working Man. That's a real good one too.
Is it?
Movie.
We saw the preview for that last time we went to the movies. We went and saw that new Final Destination horror movie Sunday. It was pretty good for what it was. But yeah, Landman's a great series. Anybody hadn't seen that, you really should check that out.
What about Tulsa King?
I need to see that. I haven't seen Tulsa King or Ozark. I'm behind on stuff.
Well, you need, like I said, Tommy smarted me up that Ozarks or whatever it's called. And it's a cool, like, backwoods, mafia type deal.
I know this is old, but they asked about all time. Did either of you guys watch The Sopranos back in the day when it was on?
Oh yeah, I like that. Sopranos is real good too.
You know what? I watched The Sopranos maybe 2 or 3 episodes in my whole life, but I loved, like, when I was growing up, Eddie had collections of VHS tapes. I mean, just tons and tons of them. And he had every Godfather, but I watched all of the Godfather, which people think The Sopranos, and I think back like the Godfather, but I watched all the Godfathers, and you remember, Gene, those was long. I'm talking 3 hours and longer and everything, but man, that was some cool stuff right there.
Absolutely. The next question, Robbie Wright asks, this question is for Doug and Gene. What was the hardest part about writing the Eddie Gilbert book?
Well, Gene, what would you say? And then I'll tell him.
For me, it was deciding, what to put in and what not to put in, because there was so much that Eddie did. But I mean, you couldn't fit everything into one book, and we knew we had like some Memphis Mafia and some different projects, and some of the stuff would bleed over into like your book someday. So it was, well, what do we need to put in that his stories told? And just my thing was just, how can we ensure that this, honors Eddie's memory? This is something that, he would be proud of, and your mom and dad would be proud of. And, I just didn't want us to get done and you'd be like, oh man, we forgot to put this, or, we should have added this and that kind of thing.
Here, I guess I would say, like, going back and writing some of the personal stuff and the stories and everything, and then you get done writing something, and then you remember something else and you write it down. And like most people know, as far as I'm not the English professor graduate here. So after I would get my stuff wrote, I would let Melissa look at my stuff and get it looking like it was supposed to. But then when I would get it wrote, then I would remember other stuff, and then you try to make it fit in where, there's different chapters. And if people read the chapters, and I'm real pleased with the way it all turned out and everything, but I caught myself going into writing the stories. I wanted to keep everything like where I thought it needed to be. And then, but the whole deal with that is then you come up, you remember other stories when you're writing that, and you come up with them, and you got to stop right there for a second and say, well, let me look at this and make sure it makes sense. And now, Gene, you've done a lot more writing than I have. And, so you was probably more familiar with what you was doing than as far as me just writing longhand, what story wise, what I was saying and what had happened at different times and everything. But you got to make all of that fit in and make sense. And what I said makes sense. I mean, I can say the way I say stuff, and some people might, I don't say wouldn't understand it, but don't talk like to me like you and Tommy do. So y'all can understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, and when you get like a chapter done, and like you said, you think of a story and you go back and look like, all right, well, where am I going to shoehorn this in? Where I think kind of what you're saying here too is where it doesn't throw everything else off kilter. Like we need it in there, but we got to fit it where it lines up and makes sense,
And it's like you look at what the chapter, what the name of the chapter is, and you've wrote, and you've got the build up for the whole thing, and you've got your stories, and then like I said, you think you've got the best, and all of a sudden you remember another story and you start writing it down, and I started scribbling, and then Melissa would look at me and say, well, did you mean to put this here? And then I would start looking, and like I said, you've got chapter 1 that's got the name on, chapter 2 and chapter 3. Then you look and you think, well, hold on, maybe that should have went here, or is there a spot here? But it's just a lot of different things. And I think when anybody writes a book, they'll see it themselves. And I know you and Tommy are about to get in the middle of his, and we're gonna get in the middle of one for me, and we're gonna get into one for the Memphis Mafia, and I think all of us, everybody see what me and you're talking about, and I hope everybody enjoys the book. Like I said, I think it turned out great and everything, and I'm really proud of it. It's like other people have asked me questions about the different shows lately that have been on and what I thought about them, and I give everybody my true opinion, so that's all we can do.
And I do want to say this here, if we haven't said this publicly. I know we've said this to each other privately, but I just want to say this in a public forum. Your name's on the book, my name's on the book, but really Melissa's name ought to be on the book too. She put a lot of work into it. She really, was the MVP of the editing and the making sure all the grammar and everything was good. So,
well, I was fixed to say, now you and Tommy both know, but like I said, and y'all both have seen me writing. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not I can't write or can't read or anything, but my writing, once I get started in the stories, I can write, but I keep on writing different stories that I remember. Then you just get a lot of stories that goes on. And like on here, we'll go off on different tangents every once in a while, but I mean, to me, it's cool, and I think people like to listen to different stuff, because mainly 90% of our stuff is not bad. I mean, that's not, I've always said, I mean, people might not like you being positive or whatever, but I don't see no reason in being negative, and I don't like to listen to a lot of negative crap, because I mean, what's that going to help at anything? But like I said, I was really pleased with the book, and here's another thing. People have asked me about different things that has been out and had Eddie's name on it and everything. Like I've told people before, if you're getting questions about anything with me, I pretty much openly answer them and tell you my opinion. You might not agree with my opinion, but it's my opinion. So.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews. Sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com. And to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to USWApodcast.com.
Here's a question from Elizabeth Ann Winston. What move or hold in the ring actually really hurts more than people think it does?
You know what I think has hurt, and you would think it would hurt a lot of the guys. Most people would think that, or the fans would think that I wrestled, but where I think I hurt myself the most at, what hold or what move?
What's up?
I would think it would probably be, there's a couple of different ones, but I would think it would probably be a pile driver. And I'm not talking about me getting pile driver. I'm talking about me pile driving people. Because when you're coming down, and I've seen Tommy pile drive a whole bunch of people too, and I thought mine looked technically right. And I've looked at some of Tommy's, and his looked like the best in the world, but to me looked technically like stuff I had never seen before, but it looks like it has killed people, and it probably didn't hurt him any, but just as far as the way I've done it, as far as jumping up and kicking your legs out and wind up holding all of somebody's weight and landing flat on your butt and your back. I think that's which, you got to realize, I'm talking about doing this too, about every night. And yeah. I mean, Tommy does so much stuff and everything. I can't even imagine what he will say to this question. But I mean, I'm just saying, like I said, everybody thinks that, fans at the pile drivers are breaking the guy's neck, but the guy that's giving the pile driver winds up usually being the one that's a sorest.
But as far as the hold goes, if you got the right guy, like all them old school, like Dougie's daddy and the Fugs and all them guys, you get the right guy, put a hold on you. I don't give a dang if it's a toe hold, a wrist lock, or what it is. They gonna hurt. They all hurt. Every one of them wrestling holds will hurt you if they put it to you. Like we said, we got paid working every night, and the guys we worked against, so you didn't go out there to hurt nobody. But any one of them holds grabbed the right way can hurt you.
Hey, Tommy, listen, now this is not a question that Gene's got or nothing, but I just thought I'd tell you this. Something may pop up in my head. On one of Gene's other podcasts, guess who he had on there with him the other day?
Reggie.
No, well, actually, he did do something with Reggie, and I popped.
He told me he would never have Reggie on there.
I didn't say that. I'll go stir it up.
Hey, he said after this he wouldn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, that was a good guess. And yes, he had Reggie on one of them, but he had Jamie Dundee on the other. I laughed when I saw that. I read this. Now, I haven't heard it or anything, but I read where Gene was going to have him on, and I just asked Gene. We was in a conversation about something, and I said, I saw something where you was going to have Jamie Dundee on. I said, how'd that go for you? But now, Gene didn't tell me. I mean, he said he did have him on, but say everything went good with Jamie. Jamie was doing okay, Gene?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun, and we talked about 93 USWA, and Jamie was Jamie. I mean, he said some wild shit in the process, as you would expect. I asked him about Midget D, and wow, there were some interesting stories come out of that, because me and the guys that I do that USWA show with, we kind of joke about how
probably believe, Jamie will tell a lot of tall tales.
Well, he will, but we always talked about, joked, and people thought we were exaggerating about how, when Jamie talks about Midget D, he would talk about the same way, if Doug was going to talk about his dog. That's how he refers to Midget D. And sure enough, I asked him about him. He said, "Oh yeah, I had a midget, and I adopted him," and just talked about it exactly like he would have Ted. It was wild. But it's a fun interview. Check it out if you haven't.
Did you say, hey, Gene, you didn't tell me you've had 10 different kids adopted that was yours. Now you adopted a midget?
I was going to ask him, like, well, did you have to get him his shots? And, was it like Jake Snake? Did you have a couple of midgets die? Like, you let them freeze to death in the car, and then you had to get a new midget next week and stuff like that? But I figure Jamie said enough stuff on his own without me prodding him into saying something awful. So.
Oh yeah, he was going to have his own slang anyway.
So, couple more here. Jeremy Goodman asks, do either one of you have any fun stories about Bert Prentice?
Oh, I bet Tommy's got a dozen.
I don't know Bert. Bert who?
I
got you. You know Bert, honey.
Hey, he bless his heart. I'll tell you a good drawing where he draw big bucks, and then I'll tell you a sad story on top of it. Right. Anyway, we went out to South Dakota. He had 2 shows out in South Dakota, one in South Dakota and one in North Dakota. We went out there, and his big gets Buzz Sawyer, and he was shacking up. I mean, well, Buzz had his wife and Brett, but Buzz, Brett's boy, the house is getting good, and that Buzz screwed him out about half the money, bless his heart. Yeah, but Bert was always good to me. If he told me something, he always did it. Like I said, we went out there, he still paid me my money, even though Buzz give him the shit. but yeah, Bert was a lot of respect for Bert. I mean, you got different people. There again, like Dougie said, I mean, that's my opinion. If you don't like it, it is what it is,
Yeah.
I mean, but you asked me, and that's my opinion. And then Dougie will say the same. He never, it might take Dougie a month or 2 to get his money because Dougie ain't like me and say, here, I need my money. Dougie just let him slide. So that's Dougie's fault. But if he ever told us anything, he always did, didn't he, Dougie?
Oh yeah, hey, Bert was always good to me, and he done some things that people never knew about. As far as I say that, and most people say, "Well, you mean bad?" But no, I mean good things that help people, and that's the stuff that he didn't get any credit for. And I mean, shoot it. Like I said, he made a call or 2 for me and Tommy at different times.
Well, Bonnie Clyde got locked up that afternoon.
Yeah, he made a call out of
Valentine's Day, and he got us out of that.
Out of all the people in the world, I called him, and he knew somebody there, and really helped us out on that deal. But also, like Tommy said, I worked for him a lot. I mean, more than most people, and I never had a problem. But like Tommy said, but this was my relationship with him. Was I would go and I'd tell him, yeah, I work, but I don't want to be on last. I want to be on second or third, and I want to get home and where I can have the night to myself, and with my wife or whatever. And he'd always put me on early. And what Tommy's talking about paying and everything. Gene, a lot of times I'd go straight from the ring, grab my bag, not even change. I wouldn't be 30 minutes, an hour from home, and just wear my stuff, unlace my boots, but leave them on and take off home. Usually I'd be leaving the dressing room, and the guys would say, well, have you seen Bert yet? And I said, nope. And they said, well, you need to, don't you? And I said, nope. I said, tell him I'll see him next time. And but that was my relationship with Bert. And always next time, he'd always have an envelope for me with my money, and he would call me and say, honey, why didn't you, something like that. Yeah. Why didn't you come and get me or whatever? I said, it's cool. Just I'll see you next week or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And anytime I'd see him, he was with me. And like Tommy said, his word was good. I mean, everybody else can say what they want to say, but Bert was and I read something the other day that people was talking about, saying, oh, he was a carny and this and that. And I thought, man, y'all don't even know Bert. I mean, Bert hustled, and I mean, anybody can say carny, whatever. I mean, at the start of the wrestling business, it was all the freaking circus, I think. But I mean, Bert hustled, and I mean, the
man made a living promoting wrestling until the day he died. I mean, you can't say that about many people, I mean, I respect that.
Oh, well, that's what I mean. I think he always respected Tommy, and I think to a certain extent respected me. And one of the guys that run shows after Bert passed away told me, he said, "Well, Bert told us what the secret was to running shows here, which I mean, the last 3, 4 to 5, 6, 7 years that Lawler worked around here, I'd say 90% of the time, Gene, it was with me." And I said, "Now, what Bert tell you the secret was?" He said, "Well, he said to run around here to make sure and keep you and Lawler on his good side." And I said, "Well, that might be partly right." I said, you can be successful without myself and without Lawler. It just makes it a little easier around here for that to be so. But Bert was always really good. Like I said, really good to me. And I mean, I think Tommy thought a lot of him too.
Well, I'm up there. Told you I was in St. Louis 1st June, I think, or whenever I said. But anyway, Herb Simmons is a good friend. Him and Bert were real good friends, and a lot of respect between them guys. Herb always speaks well of him, and Bert always spoke nice of Herb too. I don't know how they met each other or whatever, but anyway, they had a real good friendship.
On one of them Alps, you think?
I felt the urge to say that.
Probably so.
I was like, we're being real nice right now. Don't say it, Gene. Don't say it. And Doug said it.
No, hey, but no, that Herb's a great guy too, and he's an old school promoter. Bert and Herb remind me of each other as far as promoting and stuff, because I mean, Herb's that old school with the posters out and everything. But you've got to give guys a chance. I mean, I don't care. Tommy at his hottest, when he would draw anywhere, not saying he wouldn't draw anywhere right now in the world, but when Tommy was on TBS, when everybody wanted Tommy everywhere, look, if didn't anybody know it, Tommy could be in your town, but if you didn't give him a chance to draw, how could he draw if you didn't put your posters out, your radio, I'm talking about your old time promoting? How would you know? How would you know to go see Tommy or the rest of us there if you didn't know they was there? And that's the aspect that Bert brought to it, and that.
Well, even to the modern day, I mean, he used that Facebook and stuff, but he said that's just
Right.
crazy. That's just something that you ain't gonna get. He was the firm believer, like Dougie said, putting window posters out, going out and handing flyers. I mean, he was that feet on the ground type guy.
Yeah.
Herb Simmons is the same. That's it, but that's that old school. I mean, even back in the day, they would go around and put them posters out, and that's what got the word around. And I'm still a firm believer in the independent world, unless you're running, some big city and you can't afford to, get radio and TV and all of that. So the posters, that's what works. And we go to the small, big towns to where you can put the posters out and you can get the word of mouth out, ours is different, but it's like Facebook's gravy to me. I still think you got to do that legwork, and Bert was until he died was a firm believer in that.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Bert and Herb, to me, are a lot alike in that respect. And I mean, I really think that's really cool. And too, like we're saying, Gene, say towns 7,000-8,000 people, 9,000 people, like say Lexington that I've grown up in and everything. When you put the people go in those convenience stores and everything, when you put a little poster on the door and everything, the quickest word of mouth, I mean, let somebody see it and everything. And like I said, we've always done, radio spots. On that radio, we could do that, the posters. And I mean, Herb and Bert, they always believed in that same thing. And like I said, I mean, just at least give the guys a chance to draw. But like I said, you go in the towns from 7,000 to 10,000 people, it's so much quicker to get the word out with the old school promoting. I mean, people can say carny or whatever they want to say, but it's just so much better.
So here's a question I definitely wanted to get in. We got two more, but I wanted to get this one in because Mother's Day was just recently. So Patrick Glover asks, how hard was it to get your moms involved in wrestling angles? Tommy's mom did a few, and I remember Doug's mom doing at least one on Power Pro, maybe more. Can you guys tell us about the experiences of having your moms involved in wrestling?
Well, man, I'm gonna tell you what. I remember my mom being involved in one. Hell, it wasn't even with me; it was with Tommy. But I mean, it was to do with me, I guess. But it wasn't. I wasn't even in the building, was I, Tommy?
I don't think so.
So I guess Tommy had more pull with my mom than I did.
That's cool. I mean, just especially Dougie's mom and like my mom, you wouldn't figure they'd do. They wasn't the fabulous mover. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't used to being in front of no crowd, but they did it actually to help us. To help our career. It wasn't nothing about them wanting to be on no dang TV. They just did it because they thought it'd help us. And which it did. It did, and they did great jobs. I mean, it just and it was cool. It was cool. I mean, and they, especially when they come to the shows, but you see people want to get their autographs. My mom ate that up.
And how TV imitates kind of life at sometimes. Well, I think my mom was with Tommy trying to get Randy Hills not to fire me. And I'd be damned if he didn't fire me anyway.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Gilbert. He's got to go. Just don't tell Mr. Tommy on me.
Hey, Jeff, how's your foot?
It's good. It's good. It's healed completely up.
Has it?
Yeah, I'm ready for another trip to Atlanta. Just kidding, not really, but so one more question we're going to shoehorn in here. We still got a little bit of time because I mentioned this gentleman, and then it ended up getting cut out of the show because we had an audio problem. Jonathan Wisenant. Now he's the gentleman who made the Muppets that we talked about here on the show. That's been on the Facebook page and people have asked about. And he made one of me that I put up on my Facebook page now. So now there's all three of them.
Tommy told me he made them. Tommy didn't make them.
I want to see the one of Gene.
Yeah, well, it's my profile picture on Facebook. Hey, I'm gonna put one of all three of us together soon.
Jeans is in a hate machine outfit.
But we thank Jonathan for that. He's a big fan and has followed, especially Tommy's career for a long time, and he's been sending me in some like pictures he's took at shows over the years, and so we'll be using some of those probably in your book, honestly. But he asks, Tommy, who is Lucille? He used to mention Lucille in some promos back in the day, he said.
Lucille was with Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson. Had the song Lucille. I always talk about Lucille. That's what that was. I knew when you said Lucille, I knew right off the bat.
Hey.
Well, that's why I had to specify promo because I seen you look nervous there. From it's like, whoa, this ain't an accusation. This is a promo thing here.
Hey, that's back when you used to be on the bus with Willie Nelson. Then wasn't it?
You used to ride, the old hippie bus. You ain't lying. Back then, he didn't have a Volkswagen bus. I didn't get to ride on the big bus.
On the little bus.
Yeah, I was on the little bus.
The short bus? You ride on the short bus?
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about what you went to school in, what you rode with Willie and them. But Jonathan Wisenant, great friend of the show. And all right, guys, one final question. Friend of the show, Eddie Austin asks, if you could have one dream match with anyone from the past or present, what kind of match would it be and who would be involved? Thanks, guys. Love the podcast.
Man, you know what I think would be cool, which there's so much stuff that I think would be cool as far as from the past, but I mean, anything as far as like with me and Tommy and people like that would have been in Memphis from before. I think what would really been cool, like during the day, which I wasn't in this day, and Tommy come at the end of it, but like when Fargo was so over in Memphis and everything.
Him and Don Fargo, I was gonna say.
That's what I was fixing to say. As far as with Tommy, like in tags, like Jackie and Don Fargo, I think that would be like some of the coolest. I mean,
Yes.
I just always, and my dad and Don was so tight, which my dad and Jackie was tight too. But, and then I can go back and say, like, you know, any of them guys, and like with my dad and my brother in six mans, which I got to work in six mans with my dad and my brother against a lot of the guys that I like. But there's so many different things I can think about, like with my dad and my brother against during that time period, different guys. And then like, as far as me and Tommy, but just off the top of my head, I was thinking Jackie and Don Fargo, or there's just so many different during that time guys that I respected so much. And like, I mean, I don't know what people know or remember, but that freaking, which I mean, I think Jackie was tough too, but that Don Fargo, he was a madman, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was quite the character. Hell, he was a member of the Hills Angels. That Don Fargo was a wild man.
And man, and my dad, I mean, had his ways and everything, but what always got me was him and Don Fargo was always like best friends, and I always looked at Don Fargo like one of the wildest freaking guys that there was. But up until my dad's death, him and Don Fargo talked, you know, I mean, every week and everything, and I thought that was always really cool and everything. And my dad would see him at different, you know, they would go to the same events a couple times a year and see one another, and I always thought that was really cool and everything. And I always had so much respect for Jackie, and I know Tommy did too, and my brother did and everything. But I was so proud that I worked against Lawler so much, because they would bring Jackie in like to be Lawler's manager or special referee for our match, and I was like, you know, like I said, I'm not a youngster by no means anymore, but like I was one of the younger ones at the time. But like, and Jackie was funny once he got a little older, you know, he didn't know that which guys kind of. I laughed one time because I heard him ask Lawler, "Is this guy with it?" And I thought, "Is he with it?" And I popped when he said that. But you know, some of the younger people didn't realize how over Jackie was, and like I would always tell him, "Jackie, come on, hit me." And when he'd hit me, the people would pop louder. They would pop when Lawler would hit me. When Jackie would hit me, they'd pop louder. I mean, it was a cool, like I said, for somebody that you respected and so much, and growing up watching, and man, Jackie was over. Like, I mean, Lawler was the king of Memphis, but now Jackie before Lawler, he was Lawler.
Yeah. Yeah, people who weren't around back then really just can't understand or appreciate how over Jackie Fargo was. He was just it in Memphis, and when he would come back, people still loved him. I remember reviewing this '93 USWA. They had him come back and be special referee for a match between Jeff Jarrett and Brian Christopher. And at the end, you know, Brian shoved him, and Jackie fell back into the ropes and come off and hit him with a big right hand. And Brian took a huge bump, and the place just went nuts. You know,
right?
Really cool.
And then I'm gonna tell you something else too, though. I mean, he wasn't just over in the Memphis territory. I mean, he was over just as strong with Nick Goulas in Nashville and Chattanooga and them towns. You know, I mean, he was over. Tennessee was his. I mean, he was up. Wasn't nobody no hotter than him in the state of Tennessee, I don't think. I mean, because he'd have his run there in Memphis, and then he'd go over to Nick, and it'd be just as hot, you know. I mean, he drawed.
But Gene, they're so different. I mean, I could sit on here. I need to write them down to tell you all of them, but there's so many different people I could think that I respected, that I think that me and Tommy could have worked against and had great stuff with, and there's so many different people that I think back about, and I think, like, as far as my dad and Eddie was still here and everything, as far as that I would love to work with them. But the only thing I can say is I don't have any regrets, because I got to do a ton of stuff with my brother and my dad. And I got to do a ton of stuff with Tommy. And to me, I mean, there's always, you know, everybody says they could do more, and there is more stuff that I could have done. But I'm proud of the stuff that I got to do, and I got to do with some great guys, and guys that I respect, and that I grew up watching, and that I had respect for, and that paid their dues in this business, and said it where a lot of guys these days can make a living out of it.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, do you concur with that, Tommy? Would that be the match you would say, or you have something else in mind
Well,
to throw
Gene,
in there?
I think I concur.
Well, there you go.
Hey, but I'm gonna tell you what. I mean, and you said what kind of dream match would it be? I mean, in today's world, they just have him ladder matches, which that wouldn't be one of mine. You know, but I mean, you think back during the day, they had the Texas Death Match, they had the Russian Chain Match, they had the, the bull rope match, the street fight match, cage match. I mean,
Hey,
they had so many different matches, and when you got to work with somebody that knew how to work one of them, I mean, there were dream matches because it was so easy, and then the people, that's what they come to see. I mean, even a Texas Death Match back in the day. Now then, you got to jump off a building to get their attention. But back then, you could do a Texas Death Match or a stretcher match, or So, and all of them was cool to do just to see what the people would respond to. So I mean, as far as picking one, man, I mean, I wrestled. Now, I've been in a couple that might have sucked too. That I thought, I hope I'm not never in another one.
hey,
But as a whole, man, all of them back in the day, man, you look forward to doing them.
hey, Gene, I tell you one that drew a lot of money, but I bet it was one of the scariest one time he was in, and it wasn't because of the people that he was working with.
Which one?
The scaffold match in Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jed's ass, I didn't want to do that anyway. He said, well, we've already booked it. I said, well, yeah. Anyway, I did it. I did there in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah. And then I did one in Nashville that Big Goulas had me and Butch Malone, or Butch Malone, I think was his name, teamed up with Charlie Fulton.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Did one, they put it on 2 ladders. You had to duck to go on. Scared up on the end. Of course, it wasn't but 6 inches wide. Yeah. Big Butch Malone up on top of that. That was a sight, too.
Hey, Gene, you're going to laugh, but Tommy's talking about that in Nashville. I was in the scaffold match in Nashville also, and you and Tommy are both probably pop on this, but my scaffold match, Tommy, was I worked for Bert, and it was against Billy Travis. And you talking about some of the funniest. I got up there, and Billy was scared to death. But the thing about it, Tommy, remember the light at the fairgrounds? Hell, it wasn't that high. The scaffold couldn't have been too high because it was below that light. But still, Billy was scared, and I laughed. And I started trying to get him over the edge, just messing with him. And he started hollering. I laughed. I thought, this is some of the funniest stuff, and I think I wound up being the one that took the bump off of it because he was scared. But you talking about some funny? I messed with him up there on that, and he would, start shooting, hollering, and everything. And I laughed at him. He'd say, "Stop!" And I'd push him a little bit. You know how Billy was anyway.
Yeah, and that match is out there on YouTube, folks. You can go find Doug Gilbert versus Billy Joe Travis from Nashville on YouTube. It's fun to watch. The last time I watched that, I remember thinking, I'll have to ask Doug what was Billy Travis saying up on top of that thing, because I figured he was saying God knows what up there.
Oh, he definitely was, and he was most of the time he was saying, "Stop, quit." I laughed. He was funny. Everybody's got their stories about Billy. Billy was always great to me.
Well, another Q&A is in the books, and we got through all the questions, and we appreciate everybody sending them in. Keep them coming. We'll keep doing these from time to time when the questions build up. So we're going to be back here next week. Doug's going to be away on vacation for a little bit, but we're going to have Tommy on here, and he may have special guests. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what we'll ask Tommy coming up here on the next couple of episodes of Dangerous Conversations.
And also, Gene, before we get off here, I want to say, I want to tell everybody I was sorry to hear, it's been a little bit ago, but April 15th, my friend and Eddie's friend, a family friend of ours, and Tommy's friend also, his name was John Gillum. He was in a lot of the different angles with me and Eddie. We took him all over the world with us and everything. He passed away April 15th. And his uncle called me just a couple of weeks ago. He'd been living in Indiana, and it just actually word got back here to me and everything. But I just want to tell everybody that I was sure sorry of John's passing, and I was going to let everybody know. But John was always, he was a huge supporter of my dad's and Eddie's and myself and Tommy, and Tommy was friends with him just like me and Eddie was, and he was a great guy.
Yes, quite the character. I mean, if you wasn't in a good mood, now he might make you mad sometimes, but if you wasn't in a good mood, he'd get you laughing sometimes too. Yeah.
And
I get him. Yeah, he was. And Eddie loved him. Eddie loved him to death. Eddie took him. I mean, if he's going to the store, Eddie'd take him with him. Eddie just loved him to death. But yeah, I hate to see him gone. That's another one.
Yeah.
And
prayers to the family, man.
Me and Tommy call him Jumping John.
Jumping John.
Jumping John. And we'd take him with us just like Eddie would take him with him. And like you can go back and look on YouTube and watch a lot of angles that John Gillen was involved in. One of them was on Memphis TV, and Eddie did the deal where he shaved his head where we held him one time. And then in Alabama, he was in an angle there, and there was a different angle here in Tennessee, but you can see a lot of that on YouTube. But yeah, that's Jumping John. He was my buddy and everything, but I just want to tell people that.
Yeah, I hate to hear that. We were just talking about him recently when we were working on the book. I was asking him, about him, where he was now and everything. So I hate to hear that he passed. But yeah folks, go on YouTube and put in John Gillum and watch a couple of those angles. It's really, really good stuff. And from all accounts, from what I've been told, he loved every minute of it. It meant a lot to him. So. Oh yeah,
and he loved the business just like we do and everything. And I mean, he was. Just like I said, he was a personal family friend and everything. I mean, if anybody messed with John, they'd had to mess with any one of us. So, I mean, he was a great guy. But, Gene, I'm glad me and Tommy and yourself could answer the questions and everything. But like I said, we appreciate everybody listening. And like Gene said, him and Tommy will be coming together to talk about a lot of stuff next week, and I will be going to Alaska. But anyway, we appreciate everybody listening. Like I said, if you want your pro wrestling tees, prowrestlingtees.com, Gilbert Family Stores, got the Memphis Mafia shirts. If you want one of the new Memphis Mafia shirts, they're out now. Me and Tommy will have Memphis Mafia shirts in Mayfield, Kentucky. We'll have them with us in Metropolis, Illinois. I'll have books with me. People have called and want to know where they could get me to sign the books at. Actually, anywhere that you see me after I get back from vacation, I'll have a limited number of books with me and everything. But listen, we sure appreciate everybody listening to us. And Tommy, is there anything else you got to say before we cut off here?
No, just keep tuning in. They got the questions and we got the answers. So y'all just give us some good recommendations. Tell your friends and tune in. And we'll see you next week, Gene and me. And hey, Dougie, you gonna bring an Eskimo back with you?
Well, I was thinking about bringing one back for you and one back for Gene, but have you already got one?
Well, there you go.
Hey, like Tommy said, hey, we appreciate everybody listening and everything. And I mean, y'all know where to get to us at, and y'all know you contact Gene, you Dangerous Conversations, and if you got anything, if you want me and Tommy to do any signings, any bookings for anything, me and Tommy are pretty much, we've got certain dates available and everything. But anyway, we appreciate everybody listening, and like I always say, peace. Y'all be cool.
It's an unusual situation. I understand completely your request of Eddie to have the opportunity to come out here. And I would like to ask the studio audience, regardless of what you feel about Tommy personally, please show the courtesy to listen to a mother as if it were your own mother. And so, Peggy, we're delighted to have you here.
Thank you, Lance. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for having me out and letting me try to get across to the people that I do have a problem. Tommy's not the bad guy that he appears to be. I know that Tommy is in the dressing room and is probably seeing me, and it's quite embarrassing to him, I'm sure. But you listen hard, Tommy. It's been rough for me. I was proud of you. I'm still proud of you, and these people are too. I'd like to just give you a little rundown on Tommy's career. He started out in Jerry Jarrett's basement, and it was a hard road for Tommy, and he wanted to be accepted. He wanted to be a star, and I thought he was. Well, one day he came in and he said, "Mama, the time has come that I think I've got to leave." He said, I need to go other territories and make a name for myself. And then when I come back home, the people here will realize I'm a star. So he left. He went to Atlanta, and it was one of the saddest days of my life. I went to Atlanta many times and saw him, and he wrestled in Atlanta. He wrestled in Madison Square Garden. He went to Hawaii. He's been everywhere. Then one day he called me and he said, "Mama, I'm ready to come home." And I was, needless to say, I was proud.
I know you were.
It was really a boost to me. He came back, and the first week he was back, he came to Memphis and wrestled. I didn't come. But he came home, and he wasn't the same Tommy. He sat around, he moped, he was despondent. This went on for 2 or 3 days. And finally one night I sat down and I said, "Tommy, what's wrong?" I said, "There's something wrong, and I think we need to talk about this." And he said, "Mama, I'm not accepted." He said, I went away. I thought I made a name for myself. He said, I came back home, and he said, the people didn't like me. He said, I wasn't what they wanted. And I tried to talk to him, and it didn't seem to do any good at all. And he said, one way or the other, Mama, they're going to accept me. They're going to know that Tommy Rich is back. And I want all the people to know when he comes out here and he brags about being the tough guy, and he's not that. That's not Tommy, not at all. And I feel like the only way that Tommy can ever know that he is accepted is by the fans wanting, cheering him, and letting him know they're behind him. That's the only way I know that Tommy will ever be what Tommy used to be. And I think the fans know that we want Tommy back like he was.
Okay,
Russell!
Hey, come on,
I'm
Jimmy.
sick and tired of listening to this big fat slob!
Hey, come on, Jimmy. Now, there's no excuse in that.
Lady!
You made a fool of yourself.
Listen at me, Grandma! I can't help how your son turned out! I can't help it, baby! He probably turned out just like you! Hey, if you can't control your boy, all my people in the South, they love Handsome Jimmy, and they don't love Tommy Rich, and they don't love you. You have no business being here.
Save it for later.
What do you mean, save it for later, brother? He has no business being here. Tommy Rich has no business being here. As for nothing, Lance, you shut up, Daddy, and you shut up, too, baby.
Come on, Tommy. Come on, you guys. Break it up. Get it separated, Kojo. Hey, yeah. Come on, Jim. Okay, there's no excuse in that now.
Stay over! Stay over!
Come on, Peggy, you better get back here. Come on, Peggy. Get back out of the way. All right, hey, come on. Now, that absolutely... Come on, you guys. Knock it off with this stuff now. Hey, come on, Andy, get somebody out of here. Watch it, Peggy. Come on, just stand back. Come on, Kojo, come on, let's just get on out of here. Get him out of here, Bill. Yeah. Get him on out of here. No excuse. Okay. See if you can get Peggy on out of here. We'll get somebody else here. They'll get Tommy out.
What happened to him? Where the hell was y'all at when I needed y'all, man?
Okay, Tommy. Hey, get him back in the back now. Go get the face taken care of. All right. Come on.
Come on here. I've worked my brains out for you, man. I've worked myself to death for you. Hart, you're the seventh heavyweight champion because of me. You made a fool out of yourself because you let your own fat mother do it, man. No, let me tell you something, man.
Come on.
Don't you ever, and I mean don't you ever, Hart, say nothing about my mama again, brother. And as far as I'm concerned, Daddy, we're through, Jack.
Let's go. Hey.
Don't you dare do it, man. You made your choice. You want to be with scum like that, Jack? Will you be with scum?
Tommy, go get it cleaned up. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's just take a break here, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Yeah, just never mind. Just take a break.
In the heart of Tennessee, born with pride, Doug and Tommy taking rings in stride. Memphis legends never backing down, wrestling warriors, they wear the crown. You scurry away, glory in their veins, fighting legends breaking chains. In the squared circle they made their name, podcast champions, it's their claim to fame. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar, dangerous conversations, fans wanting more. Podcast kings ruling the waves, Memphis Wrestling raising the stage. From title belts to Hall of Fame, Doug and Tommy carved the name. Fists of fury and hearts of gold. Every story, every fight retold. Tales of glory, laughter, cry. Tennessee warriors with hearts open wide. In the ring or on the air, legends living without a care. On the mic they roar, on the mat they soar. Dangerous conversations, fans wanting more.